Let me give you a good example. Recently, we've seen one of the greatest basketball players, I think, of all time, and that's Magic Johnson, give up his career. And he gave it up for a variety of reasons. Initially, he gave it up not because he was ill. He wasn't wasting away. He didn't have some major disease of any sort. He went in to have a blood test because he was having an expanded insurance policy. He wanted to have larger coverage. And as a requirement today, he had to take a blood test, which included an AIDS blood test. Suddenly, when it came back that he was, quote, HIV positive, his entire life was turned upside down. Now remember, he had no symptoms. He was absolutely fine. There was nothing going on in his body of a disease nature. And to this day, he still plays well. But suddenly, overnight, everything in his life changed forever. What's really interesting is what made him stop playing was not the fact that he had HIV, because he felt good. It's because his doctor told him in a very caring way, certainly thinking about Magic's best welfare in his mind, he told him that he thought it wouldn't be a very good idea for him to continue to play basketball. It may accelerate the disease. It may break down his immune system. But the problem is this basketball game is this man's lifeblood. It is his life. But with this kind of information from authority, with such certainty, he quit. And you know what? After almost a year, it drove him crazy. So he finally came back and he played basketball. He played in the Olympics and he did extremely well. He played in the All-Star game and he did well. He then finally came back to play basketball for the Lakers. But you know what? Other people's ignorance, their lack of true understanding of this disease, their fear caused him to feel like he was a marked man and that he'd have to give up what he loves most. Because otherwise, people wouldn't be focusing on his basketball. They'd focus on him as a carrier of a disease that could kill them. This kind of thinking is what tears people's lives apart. We can't let this happen to ourselves, to those we care about, to those we even know about. All of this happens because we don't have enough information, because we generalize too much. Hey, let me give you another example. Here's somebody else who got the exact same information that Magic got, but he responded radically differently. Let me quote it for you from another article, a different article in the Los Angeles Times. I just read it recently. I'll tell you what, it stunned me. Here is a man who was told that he was HIV positive, just like Magic, but let's discover how he took this same information with a different point of view, and it has shaped his destiny completely differently. Quote, in the 5 years since Rick Munoz learned that he had the AIDS virus, he has watched his time grow short as 2 hours and 52 minutes to be exact. What are they talking about? Well, this guy is a marathon runner. He's going to run the Boston Marathon today. It says he'll not think about the virus inside of him that is so far little more than an abstraction in an otherwise healthy life. It says Munoz, 34, is running marathons sporadically before finding out that he was infected with HIV. Since then, hard running has become his obsession and possibly his best friend in his fight against the onset of AIDS. It says he doesn't talk about death and dying. He talks about the next race. Last year, Munoz set a goal of racing in one marathon a month. And then he completed a punishing 14 races all over the country. Most were under the 3-hour mark. This year, Munoz's itinerary has a different twist. 8 marathons ending with his 50th in Hawaii. Munoz has smiled patiently through the warnings that his hobby, perhaps, is not the best course for someone with HIV. He knows that people concluded from Magic Johnson's retirement that athletics and AIDS virus don't mix. But Munoz says he has watched too many infected friends succumb to what he calls, quote, death sentence mentality, also known as certainty in a negative context. You always have to have something to look forward to, Munoz said. If you rid yourself of that habit, you're asking for it. Munoz's physician, Steve Knight, credits his patient's rugged training with helping him to stay healthy. Knight said that the running, besides offering him physical benefits, is an important emotional weapon in treating the human immunodeficiency virus. Munoz says that he's never felt better, especially since shedding 30 pounds over the past 2 years with a vegetarian diet. His times have dropped with his weight, and he said he plans to keep running for as long as possible. Interesting. Here's a classic example of how someone got very certain in a very different way from the same information.